we can actually use React on CodePen. So we're going to build a very simple one component app real quick to illustrate that. If I go to settings on this pin, I have some options to add preprocessors, to add external libraries and stuff like that. Among other things, under JavaScript, I can put in any external scripts that I want to include. And there's a quick add for some common ones, including React. And right underneath it, React DOM. So React isn't only for the web. You can also build native apps with React for mobile, maybe even desktop. But the web version, we need React DOM. Yeah, James?
What kind of mobile platforms can you target with React?
I don't know absolutely for sure. I know you can do iOS and Android. I think maybe Windows. I'm not entirely sure about React Native. But React Native is the thing you want to search for. That's what it's called. Now, JSX is not real JavaScript. It's not part of the ECMAScript standard, and it probably never will be. It's a separate thing, so it's not understood directly by the browsers. We need something that's going to take our JSX and turn it into all those React.createElement statements. So for that, we need a preprocessor called Babel. And CodePen will do that for us. So that makes it pretty easy to get started using React here. My HTML, remember in CodePen you don't need to put the head and the body and all that stuff. You can just start writing the body. So I'm just going to put one element, main. This isn't even a div. This is a different block level element from HTML5, which I'm just going to use because it makes it even simpler. That's the entirety of my HTML. So I'm just going to get that out of the way. Just remember it's there, a main element. And then it's going to be all JavaScript from here on out. So we're going to create a component, and our component is going to be a class, not unlike the class that we made in Dynoplasty. Class here I will call app. And I need to inherit from React component, which is available to me because of what I did in settings here. At the very least, a component must have a render function. This is a class, remember, so this is how we add a method. No comma, no colons, just like that. And it needs to return some JSX. So let's do it. I'll just return an H1, Reactrobats. Everybody awake? I wouldn't have my volume on except for that one guy in the morning class who always makes things that play music. Which is why I have to have that Spock devil gif in the first presentation. All right, so having done that, now we need to attach it to the DOM, we said, right? So one more tiny little thing. React DOM, all caps, dot render. Then we need to tell it the component to render with JSX and the element in the actual DOM that we're replacing with our component. So the component is app. So as JSX, we would use a tag just like this. Now, we could do this, have an opening and closing tag, or we can make it an empty element, in which case we write it like this. That's called a self-closing tag. Remember, this is not actually HTML. JSX is XML, and XML has certain rules for well-formedness, as it's known, and everything must close. You either have to have a separate closing tag, or you have to self-close using the slash right before that final angle bracket. Since we have no contents for this thing, that's what we'll do. Second argument to render is the element we want to replace. The only element we have on the page. Remember, it's not like a div with an ID of main. It's actually a main element. So that selector is simply main. Et voila. My H1 shows up. About as simple as it gets. Now then, let's complicate matters just a tiny bit.